Are you ready for a challenge?
Hashtag let's do this.
This lesson is on super advanced English concepts. This lesson will have sections on vocabulary, grammar, listening, pronunciation, and speaking. This is an advanced lesson, but if you're a beginner or intermediate student, don't worry because I'll explain all these advanced concepts in detail.
That's a relief.
So you feel like an English language expert by the end of this lesson. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Section 1, vocabulary. In this section, we'll review collocations, phrasal verbs, and idioms. Because you probably agree that these are confusing, advanced, expert topics in the English language. So let me make them easy for you. First, let's review collocations. Collocations are fixed word pairs or groups of words that sound natural together. And the important point here is that using the wrong words sounds unnatural. So pay close attention. Let's review this very common collocation. A decision. How would you complete this? A decision. Put the missing word in the comments. But don't think about your native language because it could be different in English. In English, we say make a decision. Make a decision. This is a collocation. It's a group of words that sounds natural together, and it doesn't sound natural to say take a decision or do a decision, even though that might be the word choice that's natural in your native language. Remember, you need to still identify the verb and conjugate it with the subject and time reference to use the collocation correctly. So the verb is make. I made the decision to learn English with Jennifer. Did you make that decision? If you did, then put that's right in the comments. So notice here, your verb is make, but then we conjugate that in the past simple, made, and then make a decision is the collocation, but you can change a, which means any decision, to the, which is a specific decision, because it's the decision you made to learn English with me. So thank you very much for making that decision. Now, don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. How about this collocation? A break. How do you complete it? Put the word choice in the comments. You take a break, which may be different from how you would say it in your native language. Now, you don't do a promise in English. Do you know what word you need instead? Do a promise sounds unnatural in English because in English, first you make a promise, make is your verb, and then you either keep the promise or you break the promise. If you keep it, you fulfill that promise. If you break it, you don't fulfill it. So remember with collocations, different pairs or groups are used in other languages. Collocations don't follow set rules or patterns, so they really require memorization. Start with memorizing these, and then as you see more in your daily life, make sure you take a note of them, remember them. Let's move on to phrasal verbs, another very confusing, expert advanced topic. So what is a phrasal verb? It's a verb plus participle, and the participle can be a preposition or adverb. Now, it's important to know that the meaning of the main verb changes when it's used as a phrasal verb. And one phrasal verb has many different meanings depending on context, which is why they are advanced, confusing, and expert level. Now, another thing to remember though is that native speakers love using phrasal verbs, so they are very important for students to understand. Let's take the phrasal verb take off. So the main verb is take and the preposition is off. And these two words together have a specific meaning, but there are many different meanings of the phrasal verb take off. For example, I always take off my jewelry before bed. You know what this means, right? I always remove my jewelry. I always take it off. But I could ask you, what time does your plane take off? So here, you probably know this one. What time does your plane depart from the ground? What if I said, my idea took off? What does that mean? I removed my idea left the ground? Well, you could think of it like that because it means my idea became successful. And on a chart, success often looks like this, just like a plane. So perhaps that can help you remember this meaning. How about this one? I'm late. I should take off. I should leave. I should leave. Or how about this one? The store took off 50% because of the scratch. So in this context, take off means reduce or subtract from the amount. So it's very important to understand the context that the phrasal verb is being used in because that will tell you the meaning. And at the advanced expert level, you also need to understand the sentence structure of each phrasal verb type. For example, you would say, my idea took off. Now, if you wanted to use a pronoun to replace the subject, my idea, you would say, it took off, because my idea is singular and it replaces the singular. But if I say, I take off my jewelry, and you wanted to use it, you would say, I take it off, because jewelry is an uncountable noun, is conjugated as third person singular, even though I have more than one piece of jewelry. Now remember, these are advanced concepts. You may need to watch this lesson many times, review the lesson notes in the free PDF many times. That is absolutely what you should do. Now let's move on to idioms. An idiom is a group of words in a fixed order that has a meaning that is different from the meaning of each individual word. You know what the verb to break means, right? It means to shatter or damage something. And you know what ice is, right? It's frozen water, of course. But what about the idiom to break the ice? Remember, the group of words has a meaning that is different from the individual words. So to break the ice as an idiom means to make people who have not met before feel more relaxed with each other. This is very common in the workplace. For example, we played a silly word game at the beginning of the meeting to break the ice, for everyone to get to know each other, interact with each other before the meeting starts. But remember that you need to use the idiom in a very specific, fixed order. So you cannot say we broke an ice. You cannot say we broke ice. You must say we broke the ice, because idioms have a fixed word order that can't be changed. Now, if you were talking to your friend and you said, we broke ice at the meeting, even though one small word is missing, the word the, your friend, if your friend is a native speaker, would not understand you. And that's why these concepts are at the advanced expert level. Now let's move on to section 2, grammar. But in this entire section, you're going to still expand your vocabulary as well. Because in this section, we are talking about gerund verbs. This is definitely at the advanced expert level. But remember, even if you're a beginner or intermediate, I'm going to make this very easy for you. So what is a gerund verb? A gerund verb is the base verb plus ing. And the gerund verb functions as the noun. Gerunds are used in many different ways. Number one, the subject of a sentence. Swimming is my favorite activity. So swimming is the gerund. It's your base verb plus ing, and it is the subject of the sentence. It's the noun. So notice that sentence structure, noun plus verb plus object. That's the basic sentence structure in English, but our noun, our subject, is a gerund verb. Gerunds are also used as the object of a verb. You most likely know this with verbs of preference, which you learn at the more beginner intermediate level. She enjoys, you know you need a gerund, right? She enjoys reading novels. So here the gerund functions as the object of the verb. It tells you what she enjoys. She enjoys what? She enjoys reading novels. Now, since this is a super advanced lesson, you could take this sentence and turn it into a gerund statement, number one, and say reading is her favorite activity, or reading novels is her favorite activity. Gerunds are also used as the object of a preposition. This one is easy. If you have a preposition, your next verb is a gerund verb. For example, he is interested in learning, because in is a preposition, so your following verb is a gerund. He's interested in learning new languages. Now, this is a very important point because gerunds follow phrasal verbs, because remember, a phrasal verb is a verb plus preposition. So you could say he put off. Put off is the phrasal verb, which means delayed. He put off asking his boss for a promotion. You need the gerund because off is a preposition. So understanding gerunds is essential to using phrasal verbs correctly. Gerund verbs are also required after certain verbs, and this simply requires memorization. For example, the verb avoid is a gerund verb. The verb that follows avoid is in the gerund. I avoid eating junk food. It's worth. Worth is a gerund verb. The verb that follows is a gerund. It's worth learning English. And gerunds are also used as part of a compound noun. I bought new running shoes. So here, running is a compound noun with shoes. It describes the shoes. So it's not just shoes, it's running shoes. Now let's review some common gerund expressions. And I chose these expressions because they're ones that students have asked me about or I have seen mistakes with. For example, she is committed to improving her English fluency. So here, the expression is to be committed to. To belongs to the expression, and to is a preposition, which is why your next verb is in the gerund, improving. And because this is an expert level lesson, remember that you can have a preposition plus noun or gerund. For example, she is committed to, I just need a noun, a something instead of a verb and ing. Well, the something could be her English fluency. So I can simply say she is committed to her English fluency. So you can use a noun or a gerund. You could ask who is responsible for, notice here the preposition is for. Then you need your gerund. Who is responsible for managing the project? This is one I see a lot of mistakes with. I'm used to waking up early. So the expression is to be used to something or doing something. We look forward to meeting the new team members. Forward to is part of the expression. It's a preposition, so you need the gerund. The consultant advised against investing in the project. So here, against functions as a preposition, so you need the gerund. Advised against investing in the project. Let's move on to section 3, and you'll improve both your listening and pronunciation. Now, in this section, you're going to practice listening to fast-speaking natives because you need to get comfortable with fast English to truly understand natives in the real world. The best way to do that is by listening to fast English. So you'll listen to a short TV clip and you'll hear it 3 times, and I want you to write down what you hear in the comments. Now, as a hint, there are 9 words. 9 words. I'll play it 3 times.
What do you want me to do about it? What do you want me to do about it? What do you want me to do about it?
So, did you hear what he said? How many words did you hear? He said, "What do you want me to do about it?" Of course, he didn't say it like that because he connected his speech, but that's what he said. So let's listen one more time.
What do you want me to do about it?
Understanding natives and improving your listening comprehension overall will become easier once you understand connected speech. This is where sounds are naturally combined in spoken English. This applies to spoken English only. Now, native speakers don't always use connected speech. So let's listen to the exact same sentence, the exact same 9 words, but you might find this clip easier because the speaker doesn't connect her words. Let's listen now.
What do you want me to do about it?
So remember, using connected speech is not a requirement, it's not a rule, it's simply something that naturally takes place frequently in spoken English. So let's listen to the connected speech clip again.
What do you want me to do about it?
Remember, he said, "What do you want me to do about it?" So connected speech, we can take words, what do you, and we can combine the sounds together to produce one new word. What'ya, what'ya, what'ya. Now, want me, here all we're doing is we're not pushing out that T sound. This is called a flat T, and it makes it easier to connect to the next word, the next sound. Want me, want me, want me. So instead of saying want me, just want me. Now, instead of saying to do, you can say ta. Ta. So a very unstressed ta, but connect it to your next sound. To do, to do, to do. And then about it, here this is called linking, where we link these 2 sounds together. So about it, I'll actually use a soft D sound, and you'll hear that sound on both sides of the word, and I'll say it as one. About it. About it. And that's how these 9 words can sound like, what do you want me to do about it? Now, you also have to understand the meaning of this in order to truly improve your listening comprehension. What do you want me to do? This is asking, what actions do you want me to take? And remember, I said you need to pay attention in your daily life and learn collocations, phrasal verbs, idioms as you are exposed to them. So here, remember, you take an action. Now, about it, here it represents the situation. I don't know what the situation is because we only have these 9 words, but it would represent some sort of situation. Now, you should also be thinking about what we previously learned in this lesson. We have about, which is a preposition. So technically, you could use a verb in this, but you would need to use the gerund verb. I could say, what do you want me to do about losing the client? What action do you want me to take about losing the client? Are you feeling like an English language expert? Let's move on to our final section, section 4, speaking. One of the best ways to improve your speaking confidence is through shadowing. This is when you repeat what you hear, but you repeat it out loud, which means you say the words and the words are audible. Someone can hear your words. You're not saying it in your head, you're saying it out loud. And while you're shadowing, you want to imitate, which means copy. You want to imitate the sounds, the pronunciation, but also the rhythm and the intonation. So you sound just like whatever you're shadowing. So let's practice this together. I'm going to say a sentence and I will leave enough time for you to say it out loud, and I want you to copy the sounds, the rhythm, and the intonation. You will recognize these sentences because they are points we previously discussed in the lesson. Our first sentence, I'll say it 3 times. Did she keep her promise? Did she keep her promise? Did she keep her promise? We took off around 10. We took off around 10. We took off around 10. How did you break the ice? How did you break the ice? How did you break the ice? Going hiking is so fun. Going hiking is so fun. Going hiking is so fun. What do you want me to do about it? What do you want me to do about it? What do you want me to do about it? Do you want me to make more lessons at the advanced expert level? If you do, put yes, 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 put yes, yes, yes in the comments below. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And here's another lesson I know you'll love, so watch it right now.